follow-up from last board meeting. At the request of the chairman, to do a quality assurance review of what documents we were able to review from what Regional General Hospital Wilson had provided to us. Some of the information was sketchy, so it was hard to do a quality review with the information we had. At the February 16th meeting, Regional General provided 5 written documents and 2 verbal incidents which initiated quality assurance review. Back on our quality assurance review on a daily basis is our supervisors review patient care reports every morning, every day from the previous shift. This is done to assure that we have the best possible paramedics and EMTs out there to address any issues that need to be addressed. Like we said last time, we have the best paramedics and best EMTs around. We continue to have the best paramedics and best EMTs around, and we are very thankful that this county was able to have those folks working for us. So before any of that is skewed or allegations, anything like that, we do have the best paramedics and the best EMTs, and provide the best possible care. We work under an aggressive protocol from our medical directors, Dr. Jones and Dr. Lewall. We neither one were able to be here this morning to discuss this. Our associate medical director, Dr. Lewall, is responsible for quality assurance of our EMS service here in Levy County. Dr. Jones is responsible for all training and protocol revisions of our protocols. So that's where a lot of that would come from. So it seems how those two have already been reviewed. I went ahead and reviewed them as well. And it's kind of sketchy because as you look through, you have the one from the Wilson Fire Department that they witnessed one of our paramedics repeatedly asked them to be transported to Regional General Hospital. Well, in that document, it does not give me any patient name, patient information, or anything like that. So although it was signed by the fire chief in Wilson Fire Department, we still do not have a patient's name or anything else to go back and do a quality assurance review on that patient care document.
And it also says in there at the bottom of the last line, if I remember right, that they did not do the patient care, how did they word it?
Yes, sir. It should be noted that I did not perform patient care on this patient.
Okay. So
we're not sure what role Wilson Fire Department played in the observation of our paramedic during that call.
Right.
So that was one of them. So 3 did not provide enough information for our staff to determine which patient care report should be reviewed. One patient care report provided consent to be transported to Shands UF. So we do have that. They consented to be transported to Shands UF. Next patient requested to be transported to Citrus Memorial Hospital from across the street from Regional Dental. I cannot get out any more information in here for this board. Requested to be transported to Citrus Memorial Hospital initially. Once treatment was started, that patient did not want to be transported nowhere and refused patient treatment and left the scene. Where that person went after that, I have no idea in the house. That's where she got, he or she got where they thought. The other one we were able to find information on, patient did have a loss of consciousness. That requires patient to be transported from the nature of the injuries, nature of the incident that occurred after reviewing the patient care report, to be transported to a trauma facility. Next patient is pending legal action, and I won't discuss that. That is our findings from the last meeting that we discussed. We do have the letters in this packet that the hospital did provide to you. We have a letter from Good Samaritan, and a letter from the hospital and from Good Samaritan. Does not give us any patient information, no information to even look up the patient. So we aren't able to do any of that quality assurance review. The next one, where we had a patient, we had no specific information. A patient had been transported twice. I have no date on the request for information, so I don't know if this is a year old, 3 years old. There's no information on this. As for the other information that was in here, one was a letter stating, the good quality of care somebody received from Regional General Hospital. Did not request us to do any more looking at that, and the same thing with another letter. So at this point in time, those are findings on our quality assurance review, that we do not find any wrongdoing. There appears to be no wrongdoing in the patient electronic patient care reports that our clinicians, our paramedics and EMTs did. And coincidental, the one with the letter that we did receive from Wilson Fire Department, that call, as they're documented on here, occurred over a year ago. And we're just now receiving written documentation for us to look into. So that's kind of the smoke and mirrors, trying to figure out where we're looking at it. This call occurred over a year ago. And now we're just now receiving information about that call from the Wilson Fire Department. So that's where we're at now. Any other questions, Council? Commission?
Anybody have any questions for David?
Mr. Chairman?
Before we get started, I would like to say, due to the nature of things that I don't even understand fully, the HIPAA laws and patient protection, things of that nature, we do have to be careful what kind of questions we ask, what kind of statements we make. This is more for the board than this to the public, but I just want to put that out there so that we don't misstep and open ourselves up for any sort of liability in the future. So, who was first? Mr. Lambert. Come on up.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joseph Lander, Regional General Hospital. Let me begin by dispelling something that keeps being said. We believe that Levy County has amazing EMTs and paramedics.
Thank you.
In fact, we employ them every opportunity we get. We have gone so far as to even contact Chief Knowles previously and said, look, let any of your staff know that if anybody wants any additional work, we're ready to hire them. Because we do believe you have amazing staff. However, amazing staff follows orders. Amazing staff listens to their superiors, and it's our belief, based on memos and things that we have looked at, that they are being told by their administrators not to take people to Regional General Hospital, either directly or through a series of, what we call it, carving them out of the appropriate transport protocol. For example, we just heard Chief Knowles say that he couldn't take someone who had passed out or was unconscious at one point to Regional General because they needed to go to a trauma facility. Well, and I'm not an EMT or a paramedic, but I'm not exactly sure how that falls into a trauma category just because you have lost consciousness.
I think the addition of the words head injury with loss of consciousness. What's on the report? I'm not arguing, he said, she said, I'm just saying that.
I understand.
That's part of it.
And I would ask the board perhaps to take a look at the Medicare rules for appropriate facility, and I think you would be quite surprised. Now, I understood that the board was going to conduct an investigation, so I'm actually a little disheartened that what you seem to have done was to turn it back over to the very agency or department that we were asking that you investigate. So, I'm not sure how you expect to get an unbiased report based upon that. And in that same vein, we heard a lot of, we didn't have information, we didn't have this was sketchy, to quote Chief Knowles, but yet we never received a single phone call. None of the people that we brought here were contacted. So if his idea of a thorough and accurate report is to provide reports to the board without proper information, I think that's probably symptomatic of a lot of the issues that you've been having. And again, we brought this information to the board, we asked for help, and I'm standing here today still wondering where that help has been. Thank you.
I'm gonna make a suggestion for you, Mr. Down.
Yes, sir.
I'm bragging on that hospital ever since y'all been up there. Am I correct?
You have.
Right. Y'all want an independent investigation done on the hospital
Yes, sir.
with the IM service, okay? Y'all expect this board or the citizens of this county to do the investigation? Y'all are the ones wanting the hospital and our patients taken care of. are taken there. And I absolutely want that hospital in Wilson, understand? It's a good hospital. Go hire your private investigator, let them do their independent investigation, bring it to the board.
With all due respect, Mr. Joyner, your chairman at the last meeting announced that they were going to do an independent investigation.
I said, y'all hire.
No, you put words in my mouth. I said, we would investigate it. Myself, along with Dr. Jones and David Knowles, reviewed the cases.
Oh, so you were part of the investigation
I was
too?
part of the questioning on how we were going to look at the incidents that were reported and go back and look at them to find out why the determination was made to transport them to wherever they
So
were.
you were part of the investigation?
I was directing what they were supposed to do, yes.
You were part of the
I
investigation?
did not look at anybody's file, no, sir, I did not.
If you're not satisfied with it, y'all hire a private investigator, bring it to us.
I can't, I mean, I asked them to do, and they did exactly what was requested by me, to go back and review each individual case and determine why they were transported to a different hospital other than Regional General. And as you can see, that was done, and there was a reason given here.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
I
I don't see a lot of reasons. I see not enough information, not enough information,
I
not enough
see you making
information.
accusations, Mr.
Well, it's what it says. I mean,
So,
no, I'm not practicing law. Sorry. I'm not an attorney.
But that's good. I mean, he's sitting here trying to spar and trying to get somebody to
I'm sorry,
say something.
Ms. Brown, didn't understand you.
I made a solution.
I didn't either. I said it to myself.
Oh, okay.
Following what the bar said.
Yes.
About you.
Right.
And you were useless.
Okay, I'm not here practicing
And
law.
local government attorneys.
Okay.
Particularly.
Okay.
So,
You
It's
want
on
to-
record with the Florida bar.
both of y'all stand down now, let's keep it simple.
Certainly made no disparaging remark to Ms. Brown.
Mr. Lander, if, I agree with Mr. Jordan, if you think anything more in depth needs to be done on 7 incidents out of thousands of transports that occur yearly in the Department of Public Safety, then I encourage you to do so. I'm not challenging you in any way, I'm not saying that there's not something more out there. We merely did what I wanted done, what I was happy with as far as a review of these incidents that were pointed out, and to find out, to make sure in that patient report, as much as that we could see, or they could see, I couldn't see any of it, why decisions were made to either take people to Shands Hospital in one case, or why they refused treatment, or why things were done. That's, I mean, I don't know how in depth this has to be. Again, I want to reiterate, we're talking about 7 cases out of thousands of transports. And again, if you're, this is in no way a reflection on REMS service. REMS service is one of the best in the state. Again, we're talking about people who have to make judgment calls on where treatment is the most appropriate. I don't even understand what appropriate facility means, okay? But these people who are trained to do this are the EMTs and the paramedics who work for our service. They understand what appropriate facility means, and they are tasked with making this decision and doing what is best for the citizen who is injured or hurt or sick at the time. Now, it's easy to go back 6 months later or 3 months later or a year later and say, oh, this was a poor decision, or you could have done this a different way. But at the time that this decision was made, it had to be made in a very timely fashion. So, I personally, this is what I wanted provided for the board, and this is sufficient for what I requested.
Okay.
So, if you want to go any further and you want to provide more information for the board, that is strictly up to you.
We would have been more than happy to have gotten you HIPAA releases for the information that you needed, but again, we weren't contacted. So, there you go.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Lander? Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Witt?
I think, the only question I have is, you were you were looking exclusively at the patient care reports, that's how you did your investigation.
That's what we reviewed the patient care reports.
You didn't interview any patients, you didn't go into.
They had already provided their testimony at the meeting. I'm not sure why we would have to rehash that hash.
Wow, they all provided their testimony.
Well, we reviewed the patient care report and looked at why the paramedic determined, or the EMT determined what option was available as far as.
So you didn't interview the EMTs, the paramedics, and
I don't know what they did. I wasn't involved in it beyond directing them to do it and provide a report. I couldn't be involved.
well, Mr. Knowles asked that question, whether the EMTs and paramedics were interviewed.
Mr. Knowles, whenever y'all conducted your patient review, were the attending paramedics and EMTs interviewed?
Their
or questioned?
patient care report is a legal document. We reviewed information that was documented on their legal document. We're not asking them to redact or change anything that they already have heard on the call.
Does that mean no?
I answered my commissioner's question. Did I answer your question, Commissioner?
You reviewed what they put in their report. You didn't go back and ask them about it.
Correct.
Any more questions? Mr. Grant?
Mr. Chairman, I was in this profession for about 20 years or better. And until you get in the back of that ambulance and you ride with somebody, you have no idea that the pressure that these EMTs and paramedics are under. So until you do that, I suggest you just keep your mouth shut.
I concur with that, sir.
Again, we're not saying that the EMTs and the paramedics riding and working the ambulance have done anything other than follow orders. They've been given hundreds of memos outlining what the actual protocol is. I've looked at them. So we think they're doing an excellent job, and also an excellent job of following orders.
I can't even believe it. So now you're telling me you have memos from management directing our EMTs to not follow protocol and to take patients away from Regional General Hospital. Is that what I understood you to say?
No, that's not what you understood me to say.
Okay, well, clarify your statement, please.
You would have a memo that says, for example, there was a time that we did not have a capnography machine. So when that was determined by EMS, then a memo would be put out that says, our transport protocol is to not transport, and I'm paraphrasing, not transport people to facilities that do not have capnography machines just like ours. A series of things of that nature that eliminate Regional General from being the facility that's appropriate under their guidelines.
Do you have
Period.
a
You have those.
capnography machine now?
Yes, we do. We have had one for a very long time.
Did you notify anybody at Public Safety or EMS that you
Absolutely.
have one?
Absolutely.
And so there was no subsequent memo release that said they now have one at Wilson?
You wouldn't need one to release it because it says we only take one to the facilities that have it. So once we have it, then that wouldn't be appropriate anymore. Surely you understand that, correct?
How would we know you had one?
I just told you, we
You told
brought
us.
them there.
Okay, you told us you had one.
Yes, and they came to our facility and physically looked at it.
Okay. And so then at that point, y'all become eligible for transport again, correct? Or we're still not transporting on the basis that you don't have a machine that we
No,
sell?
what I said is there's a successive group of things that continue to eliminate Regional General.
But now you have that machine, so you shouldn't be eliminated.
Right, that's what we're saying.
So are you saying you're still being eliminated even though you have the machine? The
Yes.
memo's still there that says don't take me to Wilson?
I didn't say there was one that says don't take it to Williston. You can say whatever you want to put in my mouth. What I said was, they said, if you don't have this machine, you don't take people there. Then it's, if a person perhaps might need a higher level of care, then you don't take them to Regional General, you take them to whichever has this particular specialty. Perhaps, I mean, you could go through your memos and you'll see exactly what I'm talking
I
about.
don't run EMS, Mr. Lambert.
I
I'm sorry.
understand.
Ms. Cannon?
Mr. Chairman, has this gentleman time before he leaves the podium? Have tell the public what his role is, or better shall we say, is the gentleman employed by Regional Hospital in Williston? Or if he is employed there, what is his job title?
I'm employed by Dr. Patty, and I'm over marketing and compliance.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, moving on. Miss Alice Lalonde with the road department. In case.
Bring up
No. Go ahead. I'll second.
We have a motion to hear a non-agenda item. Do I hear a second? Yes. All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Apparently, we have a grader operator that broke down and did some transmission work, and it caused for the repair to the transmission, and it's not shifting properly. They have to remove it, replace it, and reprogram it, but it's $6,129.91 for the repair. That's your equipment.
And if you would, that not long ago, we had put $30-something thousand into the transmission. I don't think that's the same, I'm not sure, I don't think it is. I talked to Mr. Gerald, this came about yesterday, they got this estimate. What I would ask the board to do though is to put a not to exceed amount, because that is just an estimate until they get in there, so I would try to inflate that a little bit so that it don't hold up anything for finance. When I went to get a purchase order yesterday afternoon, you know, they would prefer naturally it be board approved, and these graders need to be running, so if you could put a not to exceed amount on there, by another, say $500 or something, that should cover everything. Hopefully.
6691.
What's the price of the salad?
They quoted $6,129.91.
Actually, I was gonna, then you're gonna put a cap on it, because you don't know what that could end up being. And the same one that we just took care of last summer, and we would hope that there's warranty work, warranty still available there. But I would make a motion that we set the cap at $10,000, and if this, the same one that we just had fixed last summer, that we would, figure out what it is that we need to do with it, because it's starting to cost us a lot of money.
I didn't know till this morning, so I don't know which one it is.
We have a motion, do I hear a second?
I do, I'll second, yeah.
We have a motion by Commissioner Stevens, second by Commissioner Joyner. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Those salads, when y'all, I'm gonna Casey, when y'all, they go to work on the transmission, you find out if they have, a maintenance agreement warranty on the transmission they're working on.
I'm afraid this,
Yeah, I'll
the
get
old
back.
machines, they
I
ain't.
am too about it.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item I have is my, road closing, which has to be done from public.
Chair notes.
Yes, it should be done as a public hearing. Public hearing.
This is not quasi judicial, so we don't have to swear anybody in, we don't have to do it per se.
Okay.
Just reduce the item and.
I'm requesting for approval of adoption of resolution 2016-05. is to approve the petition to vacate and abandon enclosed portions of southwest 123rd Avenue, also known as Palm Avenue, and southwest 122nd Terrace, also known as Walnut Avenue, located in Cedar Key Heights, Section D. The petitioners are Mr. James Mason II, Nancy Mason, Robert Palmer, and Jamie Palmer. And this is the final resolution for closure.
All right. What is the recommendation of staff?
It is to approve the closure.
Any questions from the commissioners, from Alice or Casey?
Did you have anyone that was opposed to it?
No, ma'am, not a single person.
This does not landlock block anyone else.
It would have, but the applicants have provided you the title documents to merge the lots together.
Make a motion to approve
Hold
that.
on, we gotta have some public comment. Any more questions from the commissioners? All right, we'll open the floor up for public comment. We'll go row by row. Anybody on row 1? Row 2? Row 3? Ms. Tony?
I want to compliment the road department on the excellent description. I had no trouble finding out where it was. Thank you.
Anybody else on row 3? Row 4? We'll now close the public comment section.
That was the back wall, no.
Row 5, back wall. Yeah, there's actually a row on that side. Back wall. I figured if Mr. CW had anything to say, he'd have piped up. He went away. All right, we will now close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make that then.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I request approval of resolution number 2016-007, granting temporary easement to the FDOT for bridge number 340010 on CR 456 at Daltrey Bayou in Levy County. This is, so we can actually do the bridge work going towards the airport and, Cedar Key, or, excuse me, FDOT can do the work, going towards the airport and Cedar Key.
That's the first bridge.
This would actually be the second bridge. It's just the way that they're numbered. The first, this bridge number is the Daltrey Bayou. It's the second bridge going to the airport, or the last bridge before you get to the airport. And then on C, we'll ask. On the
first.
Yes.
And you just ask for, DOT's ask for access to it.
Yes, DOT's asking permission to actually do the construction. This has been a long time coming. I can't give you a start date, but this is actually to reconstruct, do a temporary construction easement. And they've got a bypass going in so people can still go across. But this is for them to rework that bridge.
That's down the road. Is that the one that's gonna be down the road, just a little bit, or about that? Oh, no, you're on the second bridge now. Second.
Any other questions, any other discussion? You can see my book is giving me fits up here. Public comment, discussion, nope. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried.
And this would be the, first bridge that Commissioner Rock was talking about. Request approval for resolution number 2016-006, granting temporary easement to FDOT for bridge number 340011 on CR 456 at Lewis Pass in Levy County.
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rockbeek, second by Ms. Brooks. Commissioner Brooks, is there any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for bringing the signs out too.
All right.
Thank you,
clarification. Ms. Reynolds? Ms. Brown?
Good morning, Commissioners. First, I want to apologize for my outburst earlier. I'm passionate about certain things. My item, my item that I have today is to request the board to approve, the Levy County Public Utility Crossing and Right-of-Way Use Agreement with Stable Trail Transmission and authorize acceptance of the permit fee when paid by Stable Trail. The agreement sets out, we've had several meetings with Stable Trail representatives and county staff and outside counsel, and worked out how they would be crossing our right of ways, what they'll be doing. They'll also be paying us $130,000 for the permit fee. Attorney fees for the outside counsel is $25,000, and Stable Trail also pays that. The county doesn't pay any of that. They will be doing all jack and bore, which is actually a plus for us. We were originally talking about doing some open cuts, and that can create some problems for people that live in the area, and also with the roadway itself. They will come to the road department with separate permit applications for each crossing, each driveway, and we'll get the opportunity to impose any conditions on them for those. They're going to use traffic plans and all that at the time. So once they come with their first application, they will come with the fee. Ask for to approve.
So we're getting $130,000 for permit fees, plus they're covering our attorney fees of $25,000.
Yes.
If I read it right, Miss Annie, this is just for Sabre Trail to get away in and out where they're working. Am I correct? They can cross public access.
It gives them the right to come into our right of way with their pipe, and it's also got a permanent easement for that pipe to stay in the portions of our right of way that they're crossing.
Okay.
It also addresses the driveways for them coming in and out. I think there's 1 or 2 permanent driveways for their maintenance. The rest will be temporary, but we will also have permit review of construction of those driveways. So we're doing it right, they're not hurting our roadways.
Okay, do they still do, is it the 50 or 60 foot expansion that they do the right of way when they put the pipe under?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is it gonna be 50-foot easement or 60 foot?
They have to either have a 50 or 60 foot easement.
Mike, they have 100-foot usually right away for the construction easement, and then they maintain 50. But since they're jack and board, it's really not going to affect anything. You know, we even worked it out to the fact that if they need to be any traffic, safety people there, they will have to provide it. That way that our road department are not there doing it, and we don't have any liability there.
Okay. No liability on us.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Joyner, a second by Commissioner Meeks, Rock Meeks. Is there any further discussion? Ms. Tony?
General public be able to review all of their permits?
If you want to come in and make public records requests or review when they come in, certainly.
How will we know when it's getting geared up?
You're just gonna have to keep checking with the road department. There's so many of them that you hate to say, we'll send out notices. There aren't gonna be notices. They will come and apply to the road department, so you'll have to keep checking with them.
I'm gonna have to be very honest, I'm not real happy with how these people conduct business.
One of the problems you have, Ms. Tony, is when they get the permit, they've got a 2-year time span to install it. So we don't have a day-to-day guideline usually of when they're going to be in that area doing it. Now, you know, out of courtesy, I imagine at some point we will know that just by process. But, you know, it's tough to nail it down to that.
Well, but I've dealt with him from the beginning, from the standpoint of the Historical Society. I never could get any answers, and I'm not real happy that they never had any meetings in Levy County, but they had 3 in Alachua. Okay? And the people on the western side of, or eastern side of Levy County probably are not aware of what's going on. And I don't like that.
Well,
So, Well, I would like to see the permits. I wanna see where they're going, because I was asked to answer a question. Are there any historic sites in the pathway?
They have taken, you know, and I'm not defending them to the world, because I'm one of those that's impacted by it. But, they did send people through to look for historical sites, artifacts, the whole 9 yards going through it. The landowners that was affected by it went through that process. But, you know, as far as I know, they followed all the protocol. It's like anything else, anytime there's a threat of eminent domain, you know, private individuals, you know, don't have that many options.
But they still didn't ask the people or talk to the people involved. That's what bothers me.
What, you know, they sent every landowner that was affected by it notices of where the meetings were and everything else, that if it crossed their property. You know, like I say, I'm not defending them a bit in the world, I'm just telling you the facts of the process.
Mr. Witt?
I just noticed that, two of the driveway crossings, one's on, Earl Smith Road, 343, and the other 337. I didn't know the transmission when I was going south of Long Pond or north of Long Pond like that.
Chunky Pond.
Chunky Pond, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Wrong phone.
I know, wrong one.
It-
But I mean,
it's-
is that where it's going?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If you think about it in your head, it seems like it's going in a big loop, but I guess on the map it's not. But it's coming like down 337, between 337 and 349. What's where it goes? Track 349. 349. And then it's going to go around Bronson,
Okay.
and then go through just,
And it cuts south to,
and then
Chunky
go through Chunky Pond.
Through Chunky Pond?
Well, a
Yeah.
portion of it there is not through
Not through the pond,
the
but through
water
the
itself,
property.
but through that property.
It's supposed to go through the farm.
Crosses Ursel Smith Road, before you get to the women's prison. And then crosses 337 right there, Henry Sims, and goes to Wilson.
Goes to the Blueberry Farm, goes to the Blueberry Farm, goes to Long Pond, and down 41 into Marion County, right there.
It follows the power line until it gets about 1.5 miles from 24th, and it takes a left, and like I said, heads to Chunky Pond, by Sand Pond, and on through there. I get the pleasure of 1.5 miles of it.
Sounds like it might track a little bit of a fiber road a little bit. Does
Sure.
it track the fiber road a little bit?
Yes, it's going to actually cross Weaver Road. No, it don't cross Weaver Road either.
No, it doesn't even.
Don't cross Weaver Road.
Right.
It's not. It goes across right past there. But yeah, there's no parallels with that. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now the real fun begins. Mr. Sheriff, I'll start with you. Good morning. How are you?
Fine, have no business.
No business for us this morning. I'm gonna mess this up.
I'll skip those comments. Okay, well, I'll go back for comments.
Miss Weinger?
Weininger,
Weininger.
right.
Ms. Weinger, welcome. She is the newly elected city councilwoman in the city of Williston. Anything you'd like to report?
Just how excited I am, thank you. My husband said, talk to him in about 2 months and see how excited I still am. But I am.
Mr. Lippman?
Like the sheriff, I have no business being here.
And the mayor from, they already spoke. The mayor from English. Mayor.
I have nothing more.
And councilperson, terrible names.
Moran.
Moran.
Nothing further,
Nothing else?
thank you.
All right, we have some representatives from the town of Bronson back in the corner back there hiding out. We have the city clerk and the deputy clerk. Anything from Bronson? All's well. All All right, public comments. Anyone here want to speak on behalf of public comments before we move on? Ms. Cannon?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Ms. Tony Collins. I would like to know why they were,
Sable Trail.
Thank you. Why we do not make them have meetings in this county if they going through here? This is not what I like to see.
Well, I wasn't going to argue at this point, but I'm pretty sure they had a meeting in Bronson.
They had a meeting early on in Williston at the elementary school. Now, some of their routes may have changed slightly, but there was an opportunity for the public to see routes and on a fairly large scale.
Susie, didn't they have one at Town Hall? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Seems like, I think they did.
Because I know that was they kind of touted it as an opportunity to learn about it and to meet potential attorneys who are in the market for an attorney.
I think some of them have.
I know that I didn't attend it. I made sure to steer clear because I'm sure everybody who was there wasn't happy. There's nobody welcoming the Sable Trail that time.
I would like to say that Ms. Brown and Brian Volvis and his associate, they've done a great job with all of the meetings that we had in their offices. Sable Trail's offices were in Jonesville. And they're tough. They're really tough when they sat down at the table and told them just what the county expected out of them, how they're supposed to perform when they're here, and things of that nature. Wilbur and I was in on those meetings, and they're to be commended.
I am happy to hear that.
All right, anybody else for public comment? Mr. Grant?
Were these meetings in Williston advertised? Because I don't ever remember seeing one.
I believe it was. I don't remember how extensively it was advertised, but it was fairly well attended. And I know there were people from the Bronson area that were there because I'm personally acquainted with several that were there.
And this goes back quite some time.
This is several years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
This is long before this was very much at the beginning of their process.
Ms. Tony?
Just to satisfy Ms. Renata's statement, the reason I was involved, Ms. Renata, is that I'm president of the Levy County Historical Society, and part of their state permitting process requires them to contact a local historical society to see if there are any historic sites within the area that the pipeline's proposed. So I started getting information from them way back when. None of the schedules that I saw listed any meetings in Levy County from day one. And basically all they're looking for from us is a letter saying, okay, we don't see any historic sites. I couldn't do that in this case. In fact, I wrote a very negative letter because they were very uncooperative. They wouldn't give me anything but a section, township, and range. I can't make a determination of a historic site when I have that little information. Okay?
All right, anybody else for public comment? All right, moving on. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Joyner.
Saturday, April 23rd, the 39th annual Gulf Wild Hog Canoe and Kayak Race. The Point of Food starting about 11 a.m. at 19 to 98, South Water Creek at the Waukesha River. If you haven't been to it, you need to go. It's a wonderful time. And every bit of money that's made goes to Laura, the Stevens County Retarded Citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all haven't been out there and seen the wonderful work they do, you need to go. It's an amazing place. And the people out there that work out there are more amazing. And then, Saturday, October 22nd, which is a long time from now, I'll bring it up again, will be the annual Rise to Provide. We had a meeting the other day. The board had a meeting, I didn't, I'm not on the board. They the, AMVETS, about 5 local groups of AMVETS are gonna sponsor the ride this year. It's gonna be a 65-mile trip. And we're gonna meet back at Lark. And we're gonna feed them and give them a t-shirt. And all that money's going to the Lark Foundation.
You riding, Mike?
Am I riding? If that horse can make it that far, I'm gonna ride it. And am I gonna be on a motorcycle? No.
What if you got a sidecar?
No.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now, y'all be the one gonna run that post on the side of the road, that side of the car.
You gonna be in the canoe race?
Did what?
You gonna be in the canoe race?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
He said be there. He didn't say get.
No, am I gonna be in that water? No.
That's
I don't have to. I think so.
Are you going to be, are you going to be
Get in
in
the
it?
water.
Are you going to be in it?
I plan on being there.
You gonna be in?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Is your
Guess
wife,
who ain't gonna be on your team?
Mike Garner?
Is it?
who's
My
your,
wife's gonna do it with me.
there you go.
But these two events, people, y'all really need to see what they do. They provide amazing work for the retarded people out there. They really do. You think if you got it bad, just look right around the corner to the people.
But it's worth coming to the race to see 5 little people lined up cheering mom and dad as they come down the river. And that's Rob's and Michelle's children. Last year they were too busy eating.
It's good for, marriage counseling. Like at the first law, we almost were divorced. In the end, we were all right, but, you know.
See, Bob, y'all, what you trying to do? You gonna have the sheriff investigate something. Somebody gonna fall out of the boat one of them paddles.
All right.
That's all I
Ms.
got.
Lilly, clean this up. Mr. Grant.
Mr. Chairman, being we're talking about the right to provide, I'd like to give credit to the cops for the cops program for blocking off all the streets and
Oh, yeah.
controlling the traffic.
Yeah. They are involved every year and do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And I have sponsorship forms for the Wild Hog Canoe Race in case anyone wants.
Oh, we
to
need
sponsor.
sponsors too, if y'all know. I'm sorry, Miss Tony.
That's okay.
And if you need any information, if you call Miss Tony, she has all the, whatever you need to get the sponsor to provide for it.
Ms. Lilly?
Saturday. Actually, it's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Levy County Historical Society is presenting a special guest, Patrick Smith Jr. I think his father wrote.
I remember.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's gonna be local authors there, books for sale, come out and enjoy it. I had a good time last time.
Where's it at?
It's gonna be at the Cedar Key RV Resort, it's Shiloh Road.
Yeah.
It's the newest.
Yeah, you was on that right behind the store.
Station.
Yeah, right behind the store. Where'd you say it was?
Saturday.
That's the 12 one.
But this time, Miss Tony will not be the event. I hope.
What time of day?
10 to 4.
But Patrick Smith's presentation will be at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. But he'll be there all day.
On May the 7th, we'll have the induction event, and I invite everybody out to take a pet home. I know everyone who's here today, so I expect to see you there.
I got too many youngins.
I got more than you.
And
Stevens?
You're going to have to help me with the dates for the fair, for your fair. I know the horse show is this Saturday. I think it starts at 9 o'clock.
Actually, look, I'm gonna do you one better than that.
I got one of those. Thank you.
Right there.
Saturday, March 12th, the horse show starts, it says here, on 7:30 to 8. Is the horse entry. Dog show is Sunday, March the 13th.
There's another reason to dog was pet.
Right. Set up that. Swan entry March 18th. That's this Friday when the weigh-in is. Steers March the 19th. Let's see, we're gonna show you.
Should start on Sunday or Monday.
Swan Showmanship is Monday, March the 26th. Swan Show is March the 21st. The Swan Show is March the 21st as well at 5 p.m. Feeder Steer, the steer shows will be Tuesday, March the 22nd. And Wednesday, March the 23rd is when everybody needs to be there, and that is sale day. And if you can't be there and you want to buy in, let one of us know. That's Wednesday, March the 23rd. Starts at 9:30 a.m.
Then I will be there representing myself and Bronson Ace Hardware. If whoever wants to send any money, any unsigned checks, anything like that, just let me know.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
May I ask one question?
Sir.
Of staff. The 22nd, Tuesday is sale day.
No, sir. 23rd. Steer day.
Steer day. Sale day is
23rd.
23rd, sorry. 22nd is show day anyway. Is there, I'm not asking to do anything to take away our job. If we can have the agenda where we can either lessen up a little bit or go through it quicker so we can get down there and support those children. So we need to be at that fair to support those kids with the livestock down there. And it falls on that day. I'm just asking staff to do, keep that in mind, please.
Oh, yeah, that's on the point.
Yeah, that's the sale day.
Yeah.
That's the show.
Yeah, that's 22nd.
Well, you know, it's funny that you're asking that. I'm looking at the, January 19th minutes, and it says, Mr. Good asked if there was any reasons for the short agendas lately.
Mr. Weaver, I'll be okay with you?
No,
Which would you rather be at, the commissioner meeting or the livestock show?
I just want you to handle the public's business in a routine fashion, and just do what you always do.
You see these animals all the time, you don't just let them go to shows. I just ask, just staff, they keep that in mind.
Yes, ma'am. Miss.
I would be remiss, and Lorraine Brookins would be unhappy with me, if I did not mention that you have overlooked the Cloverbuds, who are on Thursday this week with their rabbit and poultry entries, and Friday they have their shows.
All 4-H kids.
The little bitty kids get overlooked every year, Mr. Brookins tells me.
I was going to hit on that because my kids are the chicken kids, the rat
Yeah.
kids.
They get lost in the rush to bigger animals.
It's not on there, is it?
What day did you say?
Thursday, this Thursday,
The meeting started on Thursday.
March 10th.
Thursday, March 10th. Yep, sure did.
No, man, they don't sell.
But he told me earlier he was gonna cover that, cause his
Boom.
kids are showing rabbits. Bar-red chicken.
It's cute, I mean, because inevitably one gets away. It's like a fiasco, everybody trying to catch, the little rabbit with the little chicken running around.
He just,
It's good show.
So this is the first year that dog show just.
No. I think last year was the first year they dog show.
That was loud here.
I think I'm gonna have to go check it out.
All right.
And Yeah, I was going to see if I could.
You can hear every hand if you want.
This Saturday, CAAA kicks off their baseball bash. Anybody wants to come out and see a whole lot of baseball, it starts at 9 o'clock and it'll probably end at dark. Be a lot of kids there playing ball, and if you have not ever saw it, I encourage you to come watch because it is phenomenal to see the young kids play baseball the way that they do.
How many teams do you have your kids entered on? How many teams are you coaching this year?
Well, my plan this year was I was gonna just watch, but I have 4 kids playing on 3 different teams and I'm coaching 2 of them.
Well, at least you lighten the load.
Yeah. Yeah, so plans change. But anyway, it'll be good, I'm telling you. The kids that are playing at the level that they're playing at is can only be, in my mind, the reason why we have so many kids in the Tri-County area in high school sports doing as well as they are. Because they start at a very early age. Not so much for Bronson.
Our baseball team ain't doing so well, but we're coming around. But anyway,
Have you got any kids playing?
oh, I got a kid playing, yeah, right. All right. Anything else?
That's all
'Cause I got a lot. A lot.
I didn't for 1 second think that you did.
All right. Starting off, number 1, I have a request to appoint David Shuey to represent District 1 on the Board of Adjustments. This has been an application that's been in the process for a while. But I approached Mr. David back in December. He said he would gladly do it, and then there were some communication problems through the holidays, getting his application filled out, turned in, so.
So you're asking for a motion to appoint David Shuey?
I think he would be a welcome,
Second, third, fourth.
Man, I can't even get it out. He'd be a welcome addition.
He's been here a
Trying to
long
get you
time.
over with fast.
All right, so we have a motion and second, is there any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. All right, another bit of housekeeping. Some time ago, we had agreed to administer a SCOP grant for the town of Bronson. There's been a little bit of change in that, but, in discussion with staff, with Mr. Moody, I think that's something that we still need to go forward with and help them administer this grant, get some roads paved in the, town of Bronson. It's gonna be of no cost to county, short of a little bit of time spent, helping administer the grant. Couple of things, one of them being, Bronson is a small municipality, they don't have a lot of staff, so it really would help them out, being able to handle this for them. The other thing being, we have a grant coordinator, grant administrator, Ms. Whitehurst. This would give her a good opportunity to work with, our former road department administrator, Mr. Greenlee, who's the mayor of Bronson, as well as current staff, and learning how to work on and administer this grant. So I think it's a win-win. For the town, I wanted to bring that back before y'all so that it was transparent. In speaking with Mr. Moody this morning, we will need a letter requesting that action from the town of Bronson. I've already discussed that with them, so just an informational piece for you. Mr. Grant?
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, how come when you just recommended or appointed somebody to the Board of Adjustment, none of the controversy was heard that I heard when Miss Lilly appointed Mr. Collins?
Mr. Grant, I can't answer that. I don't know. I didn't have any controversy with the appointment. I mean,
No, I'm not saying you did, but there's a whole group of audience that did. And I'd just like to know why.
I don't know. So. All right. I guess somebody else can explain. I don't know, Mr. Grant. I mean, so I guess take that with people who were upset. I mean, again, it's kind of the right of the, without going back into all that again, it's kind of the right of the city commissioner to appoint people to fill those roles. No, I said sitting commissioner. I said sitting. So you heard, get you some details. I said sitting commissioner, because the incoming commissioner can unseat that person as soon as they choose to.
I was correcting him, I thought he said city too.
Maybe I was speaking Spanish or Chinese.
Maybe you could have.
All right, come on, let's get on with this. I got things to do, guys.
Going back to your other.
Your letter, you left off on a letter.
Yeah, when we get the letter, then we'll take formal action on it at the next board meeting. I think time is not a problem with that, so on the 22nd it'll come as a board action too.
Okay. Thought we'd already done that.
To this question, the point that the audience was raising is that you don't advertise these positions, you just let commissioners appoint them. And so, I got fleshed out, but you're still just appointing. You're still not advertising positions.
No, I'm not.
The board is not advertising positions.
No. They never have. I know things can change, but this has been in the works since December. I just wasn't as timely in getting mine turned in as Miss Lily was with hers. Legislative updates. I had some notes I've been taking from the executive committee phone conferences. Real quick to run through it. Fracking is dead for now.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. I mean, unfortunately, it can show back up, but it appears that as we move forward, there's no support for the fracking in Tallahassee. People have seen the evils of fracking. One of them being an example was brought up on the phone call was out in Oklahoma, where they engaged in fracking. There was some earthquake or seismic activities that destroyed some homes, and they directly linked it back to the fracking, and FEMA refused to reimburse those folks or give them any sort of relief because it was man-made activity, not a naturally occurring disaster that caused the damage to the homes and to the property. So, more money for public housing for the SHIP program, which is good, I think. Mr. Sheffield doesn't agree, but that's what makes America great. More funding for the library system to the tune of about $2 million more, which isn't a ton, but it is a step in the right direction.
Getting back what they've already taken away.
Probably, yes, sir. Something that was significant, and this is one of the really neat things, and I've told some other folks about this, working closely with the Association of Counties. There was a bill that had kind of snuck through that was being sponsored that was going to regulate the ability of counties to set their own millage rate. Basically, this state representative wanted to look at what millages were across the board and set a statewide millage. Mm-hmm. And due to very effective leadership at the Florida Association of Counties and many commissioners and staffers and lobbyists and folks of that nature, they all sent emails and letters and faxes and I reached out personally to Senator Baxley because he is an acquaintance of mine, Representative Baxley, I should say. And he responded that he was working on, and that got beat back. And what this particular, come to find out, what he didn't realize is that there's a variety of counties. There's big counties, small counties, rich counties, poor counties. Because some counties have a very low millage rate, they have very, very high taxable value, and they generate lots and lots of money. So they can keep their millage rate low. Or maybe they have a low millage rate, but they have tons of assessments, or very high assessments. And that's how they balance their budget. Whenever you look at rural counties like ourselves, small counties, the millage, the money's generated from millage is a very small amount of money, but we have to keep, our millage at a certain level, in order to do that. And even though our millage is 8.22, it's relatively low, whatever you consider what our property values are. You know, so it all averages out. I don't think he was fully aware of that. Luckily, that got beat back. That is a huge win for all counties, large and small.
Just that there was some senior leadership that expressed that to him.
Springs protection, some money has been earmarked for that to help clean up the springs, which is of vital importance to us here in our region. A lot of money's going into the Everglades. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but that's what they decided to do with the money.
You know what portion of that we'll get, or we?
I don't think we get any directly. I think it's going to fund projects that are going to be available, like through the Water Management District or through EPA or whatever I don't think they're going to write us a check, but I think it's going to, there's going to be a fund there for us to work on. The other thing that's got a lot of attention that they didn't address this time around is septic tanks. Well, it does, but they're discussing how to fund. If they go with a septic tank priority or septic tank legislation, how are the small counties? How are we going to pay for that? If, for instance, I'm going to use Camp Azalea. If they came up with a legislation that said that if you live within a quarter mile of a river or a spring or a lake, you have to be on treatment. How are we going? Who's going to pay for that? So there's some.
Senator Dean should, since he is the one that drew the bill.
Well, so they're working on that, and that's one thing that we're going to have to follow closely in the next legislative session to make sure that any sort of legislation that goes through, that there is money earmarked to protect the coastal communities in the counties that can't afford to put in a centralized sewer system.
Think about how many people live on, we got them.
I know. I mean, it's
from the headwaters down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to put them on central sewer.
But there's a way to put them on a sewage treatment.
Sewer systems that they propose for those people down there on the coast, entry level is $20,000. Maintained twice a year. If it fails, you move out.
It's a very sticky situation, but it's something that we have to keep our eye on. That's and I can't think of anything else that jumps off the page. There was some stuff about the medical examiner that worked out in our favor as far as a cap for what they can charge for looking at death certificates. That was one of the last things I went through. Anyway, the session ends on Friday if they get a budget agreement, which they look like they're going to get one this year. Those guys don't want to go. Those guys and gals don't want to go back to work like they did last time for a special session. So keep our fingers crossed that we get some funding for our courthouse renovation. I looked at the water project list. Only water projects that were funded in Levy County were in Cedar Key. I don't know if Williston had a water project this time around now. So anyway, that's kind of the legislative side of it in a nutshell. I haven't seen anything about the college. Honestly, I did not see anything. I think that's one of the things they kind of do last minute. I know there's some, and this is more of a school board matter, there's some serious question about funding for school facilities. This is going to be a big deal, but I'm going to let them fight that fight. Mr. Chair.
I got an email while sitting here, and they did pass the budget out late last night.
Oh.
So I don't know what.
So they agreed on the budget. Now we gotta get the governor to sign it.
Right.
Yeah, he's mad. Anybody else?
Maybe we'll get some in the news now. Hopefully.
Anybody else? Mr. Cannon?
Mr. Chairman, what did you find out at the I-75 meeting in Austin? If you were lucky to attend.
I was not fortunate enough to attend. I sent Mr. Dean in my stead.
Okay, what can you tell us?
Mr. Dean, what did you find out at the I-75 task force meeting besides what a fiasco?
Basically, Ms. Cannon, the I-75 task force committee members are asked to give input on the criteria of how they will determine where they either add additional capacity at I-75 or, criteria that they will consider for alternate routes. The bottom line is, the task force members can make recommendations and everything else to it, but it's gonna be DOT that makes the final determination of how the route goes.
And when do we get the hearing in Levy County?
It's in May or June. It's
Yeah.
gonna be at Williston Crossings, tentatively, because this one was supposed to be in Archer and they moved it,
Yeah,
because they need a bigger venue, but
Yeah, they moved it to
that was part of my
Trinity
issue.
Methodist Church is far side of there. Yeah.
Sir?
But I do have all the books there in the office and all like that, so if anybody's interested, it gives a summary of everything that's talked about at each one of the meetings.
All right, and finally, March 11th through 13th, that's this weekend coming up. There is a Civil War reenactment at Kirby Farm. March 12th and 26th, the Chiefland Farmers Market at the Train Depot. March 19th, Spring into Spring, Manatee State Park in Chiefland. Program activities begin at 9 till 4 with a film festival from 6:30 to 9. March 26th, 2016, Inglis South Levy Marketplace will be held. It's always held on the fourth Saturday of each month from 9 to 1. And of course, March 31st through April 3rd, the 2016 Levy County Fair at the Williston Horseman's Park. Starts Thursday at 4 and will go through Sunday at 9 p.m. So that's the Levy County Fair. Rock update us on the Alachua County, or excuse me, the Swanee River Fair. Also, I believe that the Chiefland FFA alumni is having a rodeo on March 18th and 19th.
Yeah.
Is that true? I heard somebody say yes. So, lots of stuff to do in Levy County. And one more thing, the 4-H, I got this email late yesterday. What did I do with it? The 4-H is holding right here. Levy County 4-H will be holding their events Sunday, April 10th. So mark your calendar. It's a great opportunity to come out and see your local kids compete in all manner of events, including public speaking, demonstrations, fashion review, share the fun, all kind of stuff. So just come out and support the local youth at 4-H. So that, I think, is all I have.
One more thing. Please, Miss Allen. The vets called me yesterday, they picked up trash all day yesterday. And done a great job alongside the road. And the bags were picked up last night. So, it's all taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
He just wanted to let me know, tell everybody, that they can get out there and pick up trash.
Good deal. Mr. Grant.
Mr. Chairman, has the project to extend the turnpike over to 19 been called off?
Yes, sir. This project is, that one actually died a long time ago. This project is to extend the Veterans Expressway, or the Suncoast Parkway, because it changes names about halfway, from its current terminus, which will be on State Road 44 between Crystal River and Inverness. That's where it's going to dead end once they get this last phase constructed. How to get it from there potentially to Jacksonville, or what is the best route to relieve traffic off of the I-75 corridor south of I-10 till you get down to the turnpike. One of the things that Wilbur and I talked about after the meeting, one of the items that come up was some of the leadership over, I think, in Alachua County, they are wanting to really look at expanding existing roadways rather than building new ones. So that'd be like 301 or 441.
And also expanding capacity in current 75, and there's a lot of alternative things considered, including making designated truck lanes. That was one of the presentations that was there. Yeah. you know. So they're looking at a lot of different options now. There's been no decisions made, but they are looking at a lot of different options.
Mr. Witt?
Get some closure on the issue of the courthouse opening at 8 AM and then the county offices opening at 8:30 AM. Has that been resolved? I know the sheriff is allowing people to come into the courthouse now.
As far as I'm concerned, it's been resolved. The commissioner office opens at 8.
Yeah, we're 8 to 5.
But the rest of the courthouse is closed.
That's the constitutional officer's right to maintain their own office hours.
And right now, they're all 8:30 to 4:30. Well, 8:30 to 4:30. That's the property appraiser, the tax collector, and the clerk of court.
Ms. Cannon?
Mr. Chairman, when I read that article in the paper, I was just speechless. Doesn't happen too often, but I was. And for security reasons, you want people piled up in the front of the courthouse. That's why we got this check-in machine and all that. Sheriff, I feel for you and thank you for having restored it to 8 o'clock.
They can come through the bailiff stations at 8 o'clock. There's nowhere really to go other than the restrooms or our office until court opens for session. So they can go down the halls and sit on the benches. They can go upstairs and sit in the chairs waiting in the tax collector's office, but at least they're not bound right there in the lobby.
Something never seems to us.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to pay the bills? We have a motion is second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Approval of minutes. We had a lot of minutes to approve. December 22nd minutes. They were amended. Anybody see anything else that needs to be added or subtracted from the minutes from the 22nd of December? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Joyner, second by Commissioner Meeks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. January 5th minutes.
I didn't see, I read it. I didn't see anything. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Joyner, second by Commissioner Meeks. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Minutes from January 19th. Additions, omissions, subtractions.
Make a motion as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Finally, February 2nd. 2016. Additions, subtractions, omissions. Down here under public comment, where it talks about Mr. Lander, attorney at the General Hospital, I think that needs to be changed to spokesman or representative. Anybody else have any other changes? What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it with that change. With the change?
With the change, I'm sorry.
Need a second with the change. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Does anybody else have anything that needs to come before this board today? Seeing none, I declare this meeting adjourned.
And I'll be back.